Am I the a-hole? My wife became emotionally abusive since giving birth. She topped it off by cheating. Now she is begging me to reconsider. My 32M wife, 30F, and I have been together 7 years, married for 4. We were always that couple. Best friends, laughed constantly, got each other. We weren't perfect, but we handled things like a team. When we decided to try for a baby, we were both excited. Our son was born 10 months ago. That's when things changed. I knew postpartum depression was a thing, so when my wife started withdrawing emotionally, I gave her space and support. She was distant, irritable, cold. But I told myself it was the hormones, the sleep deprivation, the overwhelming shift into parenthood. I took over as much as I could. I was working full-time and still doing night feeds, cooking, cleaning. I didn't mind. I love our kid, and I love Dee, my wife. I wanted to show up for her. But it didn't stop at depression. She began weaponizing it. I don't say that lightly. She would lash out, insult me, tell me I was a terrible father or useless, often in front of her mom or friends. She accused me of cheating if I stayed at work too long. She once threw a plate at the wall when I asked if she'd eaten that day. There were no more hugs, no thank yous, no conversations, just anger, all the time. Walking on eggshells became my normal. I begged her to go to therapy alone or with me. She refused. Said if I wasn't such a weak man, she wouldn't be like this. I stayed. I thought it would get better. Then one night about 2 months ago, I found a message on her iPad. She'd forgotten to close it. It was from a guy she used to know in college. It wasn't just flirty. It was graphic, like ongoing affair graphic. There were pictures. There were messages about me. She told him she didn't love me anymore. Said she stayed with me for convenience. My hands literally started shaking. I confronted her the next day. She cried, screamed, denied, then admitted it. She said it meant nothing, and blamed me for abandoning her emotionally. I was the one in tears while she stared like a wall. Then she begged, hard, said she needed help, that she felt broken, that she didn't mean it. Promised therapy, promised everything. But I had already packed a bag. I told her I was staying with my brother for now. Since then, she's been blowing up my phone daily. Begging, apologizing, accusing, threatening, crying, bargaining. I'm exhausted. Her family has reached out too. Some defending her, others just confused. They don't know the full story. And here's the part one feel messed up for. I still feel guilty. Our son is just a baby. I feel like I'm abandoning him. I know people change after birth. I know mental health is real. But does any of that excuse cheating and emotional abuse? So Reddit, am I the a-hole for leaving her when she's clearly struggling? Even after she betrayed me? I've been staying at my brother's place. He has a spare room and no kids, so it's quiet, too quiet actually. I'm still working full-time, but I come home to silence now. And I miss my son. A lot. That's the part ripping me in two. I FaceTime when I can, but he's just a baby, he doesn't get it. I used to rock him to sleep every night. Now I only see him through a screen. My wife, or ex, I don't even know anymore, hasn't tried to block access, but she controls when I can see him. And that comes with strings attached. She keeps trying to make every interaction about us. One day she's calm, sweet even, like the woman I married. The next, she's angry and cold again. She's apologized at least a dozen times, usually with tears. Says the cheating was a cry for help. Says she didn't know how else to get attention. That she hated herself for doing it, but felt unseen. She's finally started individual therapy, or at least claims she has. Sent me screenshots of the appointment confirmations. She keeps asking if we can go to counseling as a couple. Here's the thing, I don't know if I want to. Maybe I should. Maybe I owe it to our son to try, but I don't trust her. I don't even recognize her. The woman I married wouldn't scream at me for asking if she was okay. She wouldn't humiliate me in front of her friends. She wouldn't sleep with someone else and say it was my fault for not holding her enough. I told her I need time. She said, "You're abandoning me, just like every man in my life." That one stung. Her dad did leave when she was young. I know she has trauma, but is that supposed to be my job to absorb the damage? My mom told me I should fight for my family. No one's perfect, she said. She just had a baby. That changes everything. But my brother is on the other side. If the genders were reversed, everyone would be telling her to run. And I keep going back to that. If I screamed at her daily, threw things, insulted her parenting, and then cheated, what would people say? This isn't about punishing her. It's about whether I can actually live like this. Whether I should. But when I think about my son growing up in 2 houses or worse, thinking this dynamic is normal, I feel sick. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I still don't know what to do. Part of me wants to fix it. Part of me doesn't even want to look at her. She wasn't always like this. But how do you know when someone's broken versus just toxic? So here's where things stand a few weeks later. My wife has continued therapy. Confirmed. She's going weekly and even sent me a short message from her therapist, with her permission verifying attendance. It looks like she's trying. Her tone has softened. She's not yelling or accusing anymore. She texts to ask how I'm doing, not just to guilt-trip me or argue. She even apologized to my brother for how she treated me. And for a second, a real moment, I thought, maybe we could get back what we had. Maybe the woman I married is still in there. Maybe the birth, the hormones, the sleep deprivation, the trauma, it all just cracked her open in a way she didn't know how to control. But then I found out she was still messaging the guy. Not sexually. At least not from what I saw. But they were still talking. Still friendly. Like nothing ever happened. I only found out because I logged into our shared phone plan account and saw a string of recent messages to an unfamiliar number. I looked it up. It was him. The guy she cheated with. I asked her why. She said she was closing the loop, trying to understand why she went there. Said it was part of her healing. But she didn't tell me. She just kept it quiet and hoped I wouldn't find out. That felt like betrayal all over again. Not as bad as the affair, but like ripping open a half-healed wound. I told her I couldn't move forward if he was still in her life. Period. She told me she blocked him. I don't know if it's true. I'm too tired to keep checking. We did one joint therapy session. It was awkward. I felt like I was sitting across from a stranger trying to imitate someone I used to love. She cried. I didn't. I just sat there, numb. I realized halfway through that I wasn't even angry anymore. Just drained. I've been living in survival mode for so long I forgot what it feels like to be calm. I asked her something the therapist didn't expect. If I had cheated, screamed at you, called you names, thrown things, would you still be here? She went quiet. Then she said, no. So why am I expected to? I miss my son every day. I'm working on setting up a proper custody schedule through a lawyer. I want 50-50, but she's been resistant. Says it's too early, and that he needs his mother more right now. I think she's trying to hold him as leverage. I want to be clear. I don't hate her. I don't think she's evil. I think she's broken in ways I can't fix. And maybe I was naive to think I could. I don't think she set out to hurt me, but she did over and over, and now I'm the one trying to stitch myself back together. My therapist, yes, I started therapy too, said something that stuck with me. You're allowed to forgive someone and still leave them. I think I'm finally starting to understand that. It's been a little over 2 months since I moved out. The dust is finally settling, and I've made my decision. We're getting divorced. I met with a lawyer last week and started the process officially. We're working out the custody agreement. My goal is joint 50-50, and from the early discussions it looks like we'll get there eventually, though she pushed back hard at first. Her reasoning was the usual. He needs consistency. He's too young. I'm the primary caregiver. But I reminded her that I've been there from day one. Night feeds, diaper blowouts, colic, sleep regressions, I was in it. Not just helping, parenting. Once she saw I wasn't backing down, she agreed to a trial schedule. I now have my son 3 days a week, and honestly, it's been the one thing keeping me grounded. When he's with me, I don't feel like a victim or a failure. I feel like his dad, and that's enough. As for her, she's still in therapy. Still says she's changing. I hope she is, for her sake, and for our sons. She's calmer, softer even, but I don't trust it anymore. I told her that. I said, I believe you might be healing, but I don't think I can be part of that process anymore. I'm not your rehab. I'm not your test subject. And here's what surprised me. She actually accepted it. She cried, of course. She said she regrets everything. That she doesn't know why she let herself become that person. That she'd give anything to go back in time. But she didn't beg this time. She didn't guilt me or rage or manipulate. She just let go. I think in some strange way that was her apology. Some of you said I should have stayed and fought harder. Some said I should have left sooner. I don't know if I did it right. There's no manual for this stuff. But here's what I do know now. Mental illness and trauma are not excuses for abuse. You can love someone deeply and still need to walk away from them. Kids don't need a perfect family. They need healthy parents, however that looks. I still mourn the life I thought we'd have. I still feel weird every time I pack a diaper bag and hand my son back at the end of the week. But I also feel peace for the first time in almost a year. If this story kept you hooked, give it a like, share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more.